I wanted to address a couple of questions that I have received before I get going on tonight's blending and adding to my Kyphi. One of the questions I've been getting in emails and on comments was folks who notice that my mortar is rather dirty. So the question was, am I not cleaning it for a purpose in the blending of the Kyphi, and what my habit is as far as cleaning my mortar and pestles generally. Well, the first thing is specifically for the Kyphi, I would not want to clean this out. It's a building of energy in stages, and I'm fine with what is left within the mortar. But let me show you something. Here are the mortars that I use to make small and regular sizes of incense. I tend to make incense in small batches. So to show you that it is not just about the Kyphi, but in general, this is the mortar that I use to make resins in, to grind them down. And as you can see, it is not Spartan clean. This is the one that I use for powders, and once again some residue inside it. And then when I blend the powder and resin together, I like to use this wooden one. One reason is very comfortable to use. This is a kitchen mortar, a plain kitchen mortar, bought in a grocery store. It is good because it is so deep that you can then add your ingredients and mix them, and they aren't going to be flying all over the place. So what do they all have in common is, as you can see, they're not Spartan clean. I see the mortar as a tool, and as a tool it harbors the energy that is put into it. Every time I use it, the energy builds up and grows. I have never had the desire to have pristine mortar and pestles. I am fine with, and in fact want, the energy to grow and develop and make these be more than just something I use, clean, and reuse in the sense of that plane of a tool. So I wanted to answer the questions on how I maintain. If a mortar gets to the point that it needs a rougher surface, if the residue or the botanicals that I have been using have built up so much in the crevices of the tools that I need a rougher grinding surface, I will take, first I will use the rice, as I told you, grind rice and clean it out as best as possible. Sometimes when it comes to using the mortar and pestle for the resins, I do need to take a more serious approach to them. I found the easiest thing is to use a wire brush, the kind that you use on your barbecue grill, and it doesn't usually take much rubbing to get it off, and I find it helps sometimes. If that's even stubborn at that point, I will put them in the freezer for a while to harden up the resins and then use it. I don't do it very often though. I really don't like denuding and stripping down my mortar and pestles. Not some big witchy guideline someone gave me, just what it feels like for me. So I wanted to share that about how I maintain, and in a way don't maintain in the sense of cleaning, but maintain and constantly build up the energy in my mortar and pestles. There's something else that I got questions on from several of you, and that was you were asking me questions about the sensor that I'm using. I'm using this sensor intentionally because it was my grandmother's, and in the 20s incense was very popular in America, and she burned cone incense as a young woman and well into her later years. In fact, right up almost to the very end when they had some breathing difficulties and they couldn't have smoke in the house, but she burned incense her entire life. And this was hers. It's cast iron. So she would have a cone in here and then put the lid on, and of course the smoke would come out. I don't use cone incense, so I tend to keep the lid on it on my altar, and we all know why. So a certain French bulldog doesn't put his nose in the sand, but when I'm using it, I have it filled with sand. I actually don't usually have it filled with sand. I usually fill it with either white, black, or red salt. And I wanted the sand from this because the ashes which are collecting in this sand from the various offerings I have made are actually going to be part of a magical working I will do later. So I did want to share with you what that was. It's a little three-legged cast iron that came from my grandmother. So it's something that I cherish a lot. And one other question I wanted to answer is I have gotten a lot of questions from people, what is the incense that I am using? The incense, I should say the charcoal that I'm using, forgive me, and the charcoal that I'm using is bamboo charcoal, which comes in, obviously the box is almost empty, but comes in these strips that you break off. No chemicals, no additives, and clear burning. The ash that's left behind, you just stir it down into the sand. It's used in Asian incense ceremonies, and the place I found that I liked the quality and the price combination is at Sensia.com, Sensia.com. So I received those questions that had to do with the incense and my cleaning or not cleaning of my mortar and pestle, and also curiosity about the censer that I use.